So it's pretty much been a few weeks since the Xenoverse 3 trailer came out, which showed off a bunch of reveals and information, but despite that, it's kind of been pretty much dead for a while in terms of like new information and when are we actually going to get new stuff regarding Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, especially taking into account the Xenoverse 2 DLC and Sparking Zero Neo thing coming out this summer. Sure, they have a website, but they don't really put much into it so far, which means that they really want to keep it as vague as possible right now. As much as I'd love to make constant speculation videos and clickbait and all that stuff, it's hard to really do that when there's not really much tangible information so far that's different from everyone else. So for this video, I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to go over the dates and kind of like the events in which we're likely to get more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 information. This is not taking into account shadow drops or Bandai Namco just announcing something on the day of or the day before that they're going to do a trailer. These are pretty much events or things where statistically we're likely to at least hope for or get more information compared to just being in the dark. This being pretty much a straightforward video, so let's just get into it. So the first thing to take into account is, of course, VJump. Now, with VJump, we do have a habit of getting reveals or at least stuff that were summarized in trailers and all that nonsense into the VJump scans. Now, I will put this as a possibility because it's very likely that they might show off a new picture or at least kind of like a summary of what happened in the Dragon Ball Games Battle Hour 2026 event, where we have like certain minor information about the CAC and like what the world is like. The thing is, like with VJump nowadays, they don't really go too in depth in terms of the reveals now, so it's a bit disappointing, but I would say that VJump itself, they usually come out, scans, leaks, whatever, they usually come out anywhere between I want to say this probably expect something anywhere between May 16th to probably May 20th to 21st. I'm just putting a general range there, but if they have a scan, then likely we're just going to get pictures of what we already seen and some images, maybe a new one or two, and maybe some reviews, but nothing too major. At least this is like especially after the Battle Hour event, it would make sense for them to just, hey, we're promoting Xenoverse 3 lightly, but not too much. If we don't see it in May's scan, then I don't see us having any type of reveals or having anything to do with Xenoverse 3 until a trailer comes out or new tangible information comes out. The next event would be Summer Game Fest. Now, Summer Game Fest is supposed to be coming around June 5th, 2026. And there's actually 2 p.m. or at least 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Obviously with Geoff Keighley, and he usually hosts the event. And there was evidence that, hey, Dragon Ball game has been in Summer Game Fest before via Sparking Zero. But I also would not say that this is very likely because we're still in early May. You know, if we're gonna get a Xenoverse 3 new trailer or reveals or whatever, it would likely be an actual trailer, and I think it's way too quick for there to be an actual trailer so far. Take into account that Xenoverse 2's final DLC is already slated to be summer 2026, along with Sparking Zero Neo. I see it more likely that Xenoverse 2's final DLC or Sparking Zero release sometime in June or July. That way they don't really interfere with Xenoverse 3 in any shape or form. If you're a part of the marketing department or just a company, you kind of want to space the promotion of these games as much as possible to give as much focus to them as possible. Give focus to Xenoverse 2 for a few weeks or whatever. Give focus to the promotion of Sparking Zero for another few weeks or a month, and then kind of like focus on Xenoverse 3. So as much as I would like for it to happen, I don't see a trailer I think it's a very, very small possibility of a trailer or whatever coming out on Xenoverse 3 this soon. There's also Anime Expo as well, which happens in early July. And well, it happens in California. And again, there is a precedent for a Dragon Ball game appearing there, but in Anime Expo, as far as from what I saw, it was just a bunch of outside demos, playable demos that people had to the public. I don't really see a trailer coming here. This is just, I think for me, this is just wishful thinking. I don't really see much here coming. I don't really see a Xenoverse 3 being announced, having another trailer or gameplay footage here. I think it's way too soon, and July is also, I think, in a realm of possibility where Sparking Zero Neo DLC and Xenoverse 2 DLC could really come out. So I don't see it happening. Not at all. Possibility still, but I don't see it happening. Now we get into the big stuff. GamesCom. Okay, GamesCom is supposed to be happening anywhere from August 26th to the 30th. And on opening night live is when we'd likely have a trailer. So August 26th to August 30th. That's actually a pretty good date, because if the other games are slated for the summer of 2026, then August is pretty much, we're heading into like the end of summer and into fall. So at that point, if you have a new trailer or whatever for Xenoverse 3, it doesn't really affect Xenoverse 2 that much, because Xenoverse 2 would pretty much be done in terms of DLC, and I'm sure it would be a few weeks or whatever after the DLCs come out to where, hey, we can properly promote this game. And quite frankly, there actually have been gameplay footages of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero in Gamescom. So Gamescom, I think, is the much more likely date. So pretty much like 3 months from now. Sure, it would be a long wait considering, but hey, there was a pretty long wait between actual new information for Sparking Zero when it first got announced versus like when they started piling on the trailer. So I think Gamescom is very, very realistic. Put that in your calendar. I think Gamescom is one of the few events where we're likely to see new actual information, whether it be a trailer or gameplay footage. And then pretty much the next big thing is Tokyo Game Show, which happens in September, I want to say mid to late-ish September. Obviously, it's Tokyo Game Show, Tokyo, Japan, or whatever. So it's like they would be foolish to not capitalize on this event by showing off a Xenoverse 3 in any shape or form. Could be gameplay, could be story, could be a new trailer. But whether it happens in Gamescom or not, I think that this is pretty much one of the big things to look forward to. And obviously, even another Dragon Ball game has made an appearance, which of course was Sparking Zero. So overall, I think if you're actually looking for new information for Xenoverse 3, you're gonna be in a little bit of a rut, and you're probably gonna have to look through a lot of speculation videos, which is part of the game. But yeah, I would not have my hopes for any type of reveals or any type of info for Xenoverse 3 that's tangible until August. August, and especially mid to late August, should be where the DLCs for Sparking Zero and Xenoverse 2 have already come out. So that would give them ample time to promote it. And if not there, then Tokyo Game Show. And if they don't do that, then I don't know. But of course, they could reveal any type of new information or reveals even prior. It's hard to really say because they kind of kept everything vague. But yeah, let me know what you think. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all next time.